Monday, July 6th, this is a City Commission of Huron call to order. Would have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Smith is absent. Clute?
Here.
Bragg?
Here.
Robish?
Present.
Mayor Harrington?
Here. You stand for a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public forum. If you have comments that you may be sent in during the live meeting broadcast on our city's YouTube channel, the link is listed on our city website at www.huronsd.com/citygovernment. In order to use your YouTube chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube and Gmail or use existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. And if you have any questions, you can call me in. If we have any more, is anybody here in any public forum for tonight? If not, we'll move on. Janice, you'll let me know if we have one come in, and we'll get them on the record. I need an approval for the agenda. Everybody had a chance to look at it? I'd entertain a motion for that.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Robish. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bragg. Roll call vote.
Clute?
Aye.
Bragg?
Aye.
Robish?
Aye.
Mayor Harrington?
Aye. It's been approved. Consent agenda. Consent agenda matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion, unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. I'll read the consent agenda at this time. 4.1, minutes of the June 29th, 2020 meeting. 4.2, fuel quotes for city departments. 4.3, alcoholic beverage consumption in public area filed by Robbie Sony for rehearsal and wedding reception on July 10th and 11th at the Campus Center Pile Room. Number 2, Bonnie Tate for a celebration of life on August 15th at Prospect Park. 4.4, personal items, hiring of 2 seasonal employees for golf maintenance at Memorial Golf Course. Number 2, regular status for Christy Bales, E911 telecommunicator for the completion of probationary period. 4.5, payment of the bills. With that, I entertain a motion to consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Clute.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robish. All those in roll call. Vote, please.
Clute?
Aye.
Bragg?
Aye.
Robish?
Aye.
Mayor Harrington?
Aye. Okay.
And I note that the payment of the bills was in capital bold letters. That was good.
Yes, they did that on purpose.
What are you guys talking about? Petitions and communication, public hearing. Consider a lease agreement with the Restoration Church for use of theater in the Fine Arts Center located at 939 Ohio Avenue Southwest. Financier Pauline.
Thank you, Mayor. Doug Peets is out, but he does have a memo in the packet. We do have to do a hearing on this case because it's over $500 in a year. So the Restoration Church, they are responsible for making sure that the family units are at least 6 foot apart. Restoration will be responsible for setup and takedown. The church will pick up the garbage and place them in trash cans. And HCC is limiting the seating in the theater area. That's where they're going to be holding their church. I believe he's talked to Barry. Doug? He was going to talk to Barry about actual
The seating.
square footage and seating. I don't know the number, but he feels that they're in compliance with, I think seating capacity in there is 250. So with that, I ask for approval.
Do we have a motion for that?
Move to approve.
Move to approve. Commissioner Bragg, second by Commissioner Roberts. Roll call vote, please.
Well, we had a discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion?
I guess I just wanted to have a point of clarification. I think you just said it, Paul, but he thinks they'll be in compliance with the capacity numbers that we have voted on in the past, but he's not sure, or what?
Well, I texted him today because I knew he was on vacation, and 250 is the amount that I somebody thought would be in there for church, and it would be 100 or less. So he meets the 50% and less.
Okay, so capacity's 500?
250.
250? I see.
I suppose it depends a little bit too. It's the seating is 240 something, but like when we did the other spaces, we were really looking at total capacity of the square footage. So if you included the square footage, they could probably go higher than that. So by doing 50% of the seating, he's already probably at a little bit lower than what the CDC just does it by square foot. So this already would be lower than that.
Yeah, and
You
some
mean it
will be
would
on
be
the stage
better
as
than-
It would
well.
be
the
better,
CDC
it would be
then?
better than, yeah, more restrictive than even what the CDC guidelines would be my understanding of it.
That's why I took it too.
It's my recollection in talking to him about this, that they have attendance of anywhere from 10 to 20 a week. So, I don't think it's gonna be.
Is that all?
That is all.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be 100 people.
That's what he told me.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Maybe that's the max.
Yeah, did he say 100 or did he say he would limit it to under?
I do know Huron just told me that the church that uses the campus center just had
Says
their
100.
first service. And
It
they
said
had
100?
approximately
Okay.
20 people show up, whereas they usually have twice that. So their congregation is kind of being a little hesitant coming back too, even. So you're probably gonna have that. And I did ask, I said, well, are they singing? Probably are, but that is something everybody should be aware of, is singing and yelling and that kind of thing is even worse than just talking, of course. You have to be careful with that. Anyway, that's all I have. I'll vote for it.
Further discussion by anyone?
I would say my discussion would be, this seems to fit with what Brenda is doing at the Crossroads and with what we voted on last week for the campus center. So I think this is in keeping with what we've done on prior decisions.
Okay, thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Klug,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robert, Mayor.
Aye. Okay, now we move to a semi-annual update by the People's Transit. We do have Gail Clute here tonight on Zoom. So welcome, Gail. Good to see you.
Thank you. I don't see any of you guys, but I'm sure you look great.
We all look good.
Okay. Typically I give you guys statistics as far as ridership and all that, but I can tell you it's pathetic. This first half of the year,
Can I
mid-March,
interrupt you
everything.
Gail, can I interrupt you just a minute? Can we get some different volume? Can we get a little higher?
You should try to speak up, Gail.
Okay. Is this better?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Yeah, not a problem. I give you guys a lot of data as far as ridership and, cost per mile and all that. But honestly, trying to put that together this first half of the year was sad to begin with. Mid-March, everything dropped off about 90. And so that was our ridership. We're maybe back up to 85% or down that much, but it's really bad. Obviously with the school kids, we didn't have that ridership. With the Center for Independence hunkered down, we were not transporting the folks that get support from the Center for Independence, along with other, transportation that we were providing. What we did choose to do right away in March, when everything started to go bad, is first of all, we closed the office to any public traffic. We do have a doorbell outside that if somebody needs something, or we have a sign out there, or getting the mail and things like that, we do have, that available to the public. It's just that we're not allowing, public traffic in at this time. We were providing essential transportation only, and that was strictly for some medical appointments and grocery shopping and employment, and that we had limited to that. We are now open to anybody that wants to use transit, but quite honestly, that didn't improve ridership at this point to any significant degree. Right away, when things started to close down, we ended up having to put 14 of our 20 employees on unemployment. And so that included full-time and part-time staff. What they did was, for a brief period of time, they were on the South Dakota unemployment roll, as well as getting the $600 a week. Well, with transportation being an essential service in the United States, CARES Act money was allocated to the state of South Dakota DOT. Those dollars were then divided up with all the different transit. What happened there was they wanted us to get the folks that were on unemployment off of unemployment and get them off of the $600 a week. So what we were required to do was get everybody off unemployment and then put them back on our payroll. So if they were a full-time employee, they would get 40 hours a week pay. If they were a part-time employee, what I did was I averaged out the last 6.5 months, and that was the average hours they got. Certainly, some people weren't that thrilled about getting off of unemployment because they were making more money on unemployment, but the federal government is a business as well, and so they knew it was going to cost less to have the folks on unemployment off of unemployment and on our payroll. Also, part of that reason was to have our employees back on payroll, so when we can and do ramp up, they're in line, ready to go, and part of our team. So we have been initially we only utilized 2 office staff, myself and Stephanie, and then 2 full-time people to continue to provide the transportation that we needed to. And that was 1 vehicle in town and 1 vehicle out of town, because we still needed to provide essential transportation to 2 individuals who take dialysis down in Mitchell. So we were providing that transportation for those folks. Right now, we are using 2 buses in town. We're actually starting at about 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning, running that person till 2:30, and then another one comes in at about 10:30, 11, and then runs until 5:36. And what that does is gives us that double coverage over the lunch hour and in that time frame where there's a lot of will calls where folks have been taken to their appointments and then they're ready to leave. And so we needed to have a little bit more coverage at that time. So the only, we've got 2 buses running in town, and that is it. We still are doing anywhere from 3 to 5 out of town transports per day. I've kind of spread those out a little bit. We used to put 3, 4, sometimes 5 people in a minivan, and that was just for purposes of saving money. Well, that's not an issue at this point. We're more into saving lives and keeping, our vehicles clean and social distancing. and making sure that our drivers and passengers are safe. So we are spreading that out more, but we still are going out of town anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day with our minivans. Was talking about the CARES Act a little bit, the money that transit was allocated from the state, and what part of that also reimburses us for fares that we lost. So in April, if we had $12,000 in fares, but we only maybe brought in $2,000 in 2020. The CARES Act is we are showing the difference, and the CARES Act is reimbursing us those fare dollars, and so we're able to, put some of that revenue back into transit. So we're not losing that, and that's just some of the guidelines of that CARES Act money. One of the things that we did do during the downtime, and it's obviously still downtime because our offices are closed, we had been awarded a grant to paint and recarpet and floor the entire office area. And so what I actually did, instead of paying somebody to come in and paint, I actually hired our own staff to come in and paint. And so, I was trying to save some dollars that way too, and be a little more frugal with the federal dollars that we were awarded. The carpeting and the flooring was still done by a professional, but the painting was done by our office, by people that were already on our payroll. Also, one of the things that I have to get finished by the end of September, and I'm just waiting for 3 quotes or 3 bids right now, is a new HVAC system. Those were grant dollars that were actually awarded us in 2018. And so I'm taking this time now to get those 3 quotes, and we'll have a new HVAC system in by the end of September. Again, that was a grant that was awarded to us back in 2018, and now we're just getting ready to take care of that. We are doing all of our board meetings via Zoom now, and I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but quite honestly, I'm very comfortable with it. I'm not quite ready to bring everybody into a smaller room. So we are doing our board meetings via Zoom. And at this time, I'd really like to welcome Mark Robish as the city representative to the People's Transit Board. And so, Mark, I do have your email address, and so I'll be CCing you in the documents that are always set up for our board meetings. And honestly, that's all I have right now. I really honestly didn't know how to share ridership with you guys and the cost of everything, because with us being on the CARES Act 5311 money, we are getting 100% reimbursement, whereas with the regular 5311 reimbursement money from the federal government, we had to provide the 20% match or the 50% match, depending on if it was administrative or operating. And so, really, I couldn't do an apples to apples comparison, but, I guess if you guys have questions about what we're doing at transit and, what you think we should be doing or any other thoughts, I'd certainly entertain that at this time.
Any questions for Gail?
Gail, do you anticipate making the same funding request from the city this year? Coming up.
I just got that request from Janet today, and I haven't had a chance to look at it. Quite honestly, I don't. I've been kind of frugal and cautious about asking for money from other entities. With the Huron Community Foundation, I actually rescinded our request. What I was asking for was a 3-year multi-year grant for another bus in 2023. But under the circumstances, I just didn't feel comfortable asking for that this year, because I know that there are other entities and other organizations that certainly need the funding more than we do at this point. Kind of did the same thing with the United Way. I had reduced our request as far as matching funds, and also did ask for the matching amount for a minivan, but I also understand that there's going to be a crunch there. Like I said, I just did get that request from the city today, and I do want to look at what we've got going. I know that things are tight for everybody. We are being very frugal, at transit and trying to have a reserve. At some point, we're going to have to provide the matching funds again. Right now, our CARES Act money is scheduled to go or expire on December 31st, 2020. But whether they're going to extend that or not, we don't know. That's just the grant agreement that we have at this point. So I guess I can see reducing our request this year just because, we are getting the 100% reimbursement at this point from the 5311 CARES Act money. So that's kind of my thought process right now. Obviously, I need to talk to my board about that as well and have them take a look at our numbers and look at what we've got for matching money set aside right now. And so those are my thoughts on that.
Any other questions for Gail?
So Gail, have you seen your ridership increase? I mean, you said you went from 90% down to 85% down. Is that what you said? So still,
yeah, we were 90% down. We're maybe, at 85% down now. I was kind of anticipating or hoping to anticipate some youth ridership this summer, but with the city not having Splash Central open and not having their summer camp, that certainly impacted our ridership. And it is what it is, but regardless, we are going to be there for whoever needs us. Quite honestly, my concern is at some point, we're going to have to start looking at other ways to increase our ridership because, school, if it goes, the school kids were probably 40 to 45% of our ridership through the school year. And that's a huge piece of our ridership, as well as folks supported by the Center for Independence. We were, a great tool and opportunity for them to provide that independence so they could ride transit without having staff be with them. And so we had really a great relationship going with the Center for Independence. And obviously that has come to a screeching halt, at this time as well. But, I know that we're going to have to look at, staffing. Right now, everything is being paid by the CARES Act. But at some point, we're really going to have to determine what's going to happen and what's going to happen with our ridership. So that honestly, you guys, is my biggest concern is when things start opening up or hopefully opening up more, that our ridership comes back.
Anything else? Well, thank you, Gail. I know the city appreciates all transit does for us, and we appreciate what you do for us too. So thank you so much. Thank you for telling us your story tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and we'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you.
I don't think we have anything else, so with that, this meeting's over. I'm sorry, Janet, do you have anybody?
Don't matter
The gavel